Okay, here we go. Let h equal this. For what value of x does h have a relative maximum? Okay, so we're looking for a relative maximum. You guys know it's like the same as the local maximum. So what we're going to do, we don't have endpoints, so we don't have to check any endpoints. And usually they only give you endpoints when you're looking for absolute maximums. So the first thing we need is h prime. So we have h, and if we take the derivative of that, we get 5x to the fourth plus 4x to the third. Now what we're trying to do is we're trying to set this equal to 0 to find our critical values. I'm going to factor out x to the third, and I get 5x plus 4. Okay, so what are my two x values? Well, you take each of these factors and you set them equal to 0, and I get x equals 0 and negative 4 over 5. Okay, so are these relative maximums or minimums? Is that what we got? Okay, this is a quick shortcut that I want to show you guys, and then see if you guys can see how simple this is. Okay, so this is a sine line graph. And what a sine line graph means is I'm going to write down what the signs are for this interval of the y values, the signs of the y values in this interval, and the signs of the y values in this interval, without actually graphing it. So let's think about this for a second. For f prime, I'm looking at it right here. Do you guys know what this function would look like? Like, do you know, for h prime, do you guys know what the end behavior would be for this function? You guys remember that when we talked about end behavior? Here's the chart really quick. So here's my chart of, on the xy axis, if you have an even degree and a positive leading coefficient, your end behaviors would be up there, up. If you have a negative leading coefficient, they would be at the bottom. Okay, so like stuff would happen in the middle, but the ends are always going to be in that area. So that's why this concept is very helpful. An odd positive would be down up, and an odd negative would be up down. Okay, so how's that going to help me over here? Check it out. I know that the leading coefficient is positive and the degree is even. So that means my end behaviors are going to be up here. I also know the multiplicity of the 0 is 3, and the multiplicity of negative 4 over 5 is 1. So that means, what that means is that we're going to bounce off the x-axis. And so we're starting up here, we're going to, I'm sorry, not bounce, we're going to go through. We're going to go through the 4 over 5, then we come back up to the 0, we go through the 0. And so this is kind of like what the graph would look like. And you know why this is really helpful? This is really helpful because now I can clearly see that this is positive, this interval, this is negative in this interval, and this is positive in this interval. I know that the slopes to h are negative between negative 4 over 5 and 0. I know that the slopes for h are positive before negative 4 over 5, and the slopes of h are positive after 0. Why does that help? Well, we're looking for the relative maximum. When you guys consider a max, what's happening before this critical point right here? Are the slopes positive or negative before the critical point, the max point right there? You guys see the max point right here? What's the slope before it?
Higher than
it's positive, right? What's the slope after it? Negative. So if we have a positive and negative at a critical value right here, then you know you have a maximum. Do we have a positive negative combination over here?
Yeah.
Right here.
Oh.
We have a positive negative right here. So which one of these critical values gives me a relative maximum? Yes, this guy. So the other way that I showed you guys how to find these pluses and minuses, so that you know if you're increasing, decreasing, or increasing, if h is doing those things, I told you guys, well, you pick a tester point in each interval. And that does work. It doesn't matter which number you pick, as long as it's in that interval, you can test those by plugging them back into h prime to see if you get a positive or negative number. I like the curve sketching though, using this chart right here, because I feel like that's a lot faster. Let's let it sink in, guys. Do you understand why we know there's a relative max at negative 4 over 5? Because we see a plus minus right here. And then, do you understand how I got this line right here? This guy. Do you understand how I got this line? Okay, that's the curve sketching part. You're not so sure about that? Okay, you got to learn that part. Now, what you can do, what we're going to talk about right now, but if you're watching this video, what you can do is you can go to my YouTube channel and you can search end behavior or curve sketching, and I'll have a video explaining how to do that.